recording. Good. So we are officially starting. Okay, good. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to today's call. Hi from Minnesota Beach, Barbados, New Jersey, England, Cambridge. A lot of people from the UK, Canada. All right, I'm so happy to be with you guys. Thanks for showing up and being here. Georgia, New York. It's awesome to see you. I recognize a lot of your names. I love you guys. So yeah, lots of you guys I know. And it's so wonderful to be here with you. So we're going to be here probably for an hour and a half to 2 hours. We might have to make some situation adjustments because I'm outside, but it's supposed to get even brighter as the day progresses because the sun goes down behind me. So thanks for being here. We're here today doing planetary consciousness work for the collective shift of consciousness that's happening, to get a little more clarity on where we are, what's going on, updates, and especially to talk about the crystals and their role in the crystalline realm. I am here in Arkansas, sitting on the crystal bed. It is incredible. The meditations here are off the charts. So it's a lot to cover, and none of it's scripted. So stay with me, and let's all just set our collective intention that the group receives the maximum benefits, which serves, support, and assist us in the most benevolent and beneficial ways, and for the 100% positive upliftment for all beings concerned, with zero karmic debt and zero harm. Ideally zero harm. We can't always control that because sometimes what we perceive to be harmful is actually beneficial. We don't always know, but welcome here, and thank you for being here. With that said, and as we unite in that collective agreement and intention for our call, we know it's so, because as we are unanimously agreed on any one thing, the universal circumstances, situations, scenarios all arranged to make it so, and so it's done. All right, I'm so happy to be here with you. So for those of you who don't know me, and I have to do this kind of like setup in this sense, because whenever I do a free call like this, there's always people who show up who don't really know me, or who haven't come to a lot of my events, or don't necessarily know the foundational principles on which my work is anchored into or grounded into, or how I serve. So I'm going to give you a little bit of that. Bummer is those backup dings are still dinging. Let me ask, is there an echo? Because I may have to drop off that extra bonus link. How is it sounding to you guys? No echo on the video, that's good. How about the people on the audio only? Nice comments there on the chat. I love you guys. How is that on the audio? You're hearing an echo. Okay, some people are saying no, some people are saying yes. So if you're hearing an echo, usually that means your microphone is close. So it could be because some people are saying yes, some people are saying it's fine. So I want to check on this call because I could drop the extra one. We still have enough room, and that may be if there's an echo on my end. Sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. This is what happens when you work with a new. Yeah, there are people on that, so I'll stay. If the echo, if it gets bad or people feel like there's too big of an echo, I don't hear it, and I'm hearing enough people say there isn't one. That means you might want to switch off the backup recording, because there's still space in the video and audio standard two tools that I use. We haven't maxed out at 1,000 yet. So, but I had over 1,000 people register for the call. So people show up in delay playback also. Okay, good. So, all right, let me give a little background on for the people who don't me. I want to say, for people who don't know me, I'm not going to give you my whole storyline at all, but my name is Lori Ann Spagna. I call myself an Ascension guide, a Starseed, a Lightworker, a way shower, change agent. Many of you know those terms. We're all, if you identify with any of those terms, we're members of what I call the Indigo family tribe, the Indigo family races, here to assist humanity during this pivotal time of the shifting of consciousness, and this transformational experience that the collective is going through. We can see it now on the global stage. for those of us in what we call the first and second wave, we've been going through this, knowing that this time would come, linking it into the 2020 timeline. We first linked it into the 12/12 timeline. There wasn't enough consciousness anchored into the physical time for it to be a noticeable shift. The noticeable reflection is happening now at what we call the birth of the third wave. If this information doesn't make sense to you, that's okay. Just stay with it because it starts to integrate into your knowing. But for me, I've been doing this work. First, it started out more with animals 15 years ago in a more mainstream kind of approach and has been building ever since. And now it's full on ascension. It's been that, sorry for the boats, for 12 years, easily, 12 to 15 years of doing this work. That is why I feel so grounded and anchored into this. Not because I come from wealth, as some people would like it to believe. That's not really my storyline. I had nothing in this lifetime, zero. I spent 2 years in Maui. I could not afford to feed my dogs. I lost every penny and everything I ever owned to put myself in alignment with my mission. I didn't even know that's what I was doing. I just knew everything was leaving. 2-year dark night of the soul. Was not fun and was not pretty. Sometimes people who sit in the peanut gallery like to throw and cast names and judgments of things they don't understand, nor do they even get it. So this is not an easy journey, especially for the first wavers, which I am one. It's been a challenging journey, and it's a challenging journey now for humanity as they're being lovingly forced and coerced to wake up. I'm just here in service. I'm not asking for anything. I'm just here sharing consciousness to assist humanity to up-level their consciousness. So anyway, that's where I'm coming from. I worked hard to get where I am and paid dearly for it in my own challenges along the journey, including losing everything in order to get, to this point. So now I just share it in service. And the identity as a starseed, as a way shower, as a light worker, that is claimed. That's something we all get to claim within us. It's dormant potential that's waiting to be awakened within us. And we all have it. There's no one that can keep it from you except yourself. And you can play programs that might be associated with self-sabotage, criticize, judge, condemn. You can block yourself. You can resist things. You can resist the change. You can try to bury your head under the covers. And that way you can block yourself from it. But no one can keep it from you. If you want it, it's yours. And I'm just here to try to assist others to awaken it within themselves. So, all right, so that's a little of my storyline, a little bit dramatic there, but nonetheless, all right, so with that, let's talk about what's happening on the world stage, and I wanna address first and foremost, from a higher perspective, let's lay the groundwork for our consciousness here. We know, if you know me, if you've been engaged with my work and my contribution and service, we know that we're going through a collective shift of consciousness. And we know that we had a 3.5 month linear time, depending on where you're at in linear time, period of freeing and liberating ourselves from a quarantine. The quarantine was cosmic. It was global. It was not just a perceived quarantine from a so-called virus. The planet Earth, this is stuff I taught about in my dark arts training class and in my Exiting the Matrix class, which is on my website. Those are classes I taught several years ago, maybe 5 years ago. Planet Earth was in a quarantine because we were being controlled, dominated, and manipulated by a negative alien agenda that nobody knew about. Nobody knew it existed. We have been liberated. All negative aliens with a malevolent intention have been removed. This stuff sounds so out there, we can't even believe it's true. So now we emerge through this quarantine, and the crown, which we call Corona, the crown is your crown of royalty. By the way, we've been doing royalty codes in the DNA. We've been activating those for a long time. You have codes of royalty within you, whoever you are, they're yours to claim. The crown is what you claim, your royal codes, as you awaken into the new paradigm, the fifth dimensional paradigm, which gives you access to dimensions of reality way beyond 5D. The idea is to up-level out of 3D, the old paradigm that was controlled, dominated, manipulated in a hierarchical structure through secrecy and coercion, domination and manipulation, lies, hidden agenda, lack of integrity, lack of honesty. That old paradigm was based on the few benefiting at the expense of the many. So the claiming of the crown, your rightful royalty, your royal codes as citizens in the galaxy, as global citizens ready to reunite with our star family races who are of a benevolent caliber and who truly desire benevolence, peace, love, and joy for the whole galaxy and the cosmos and beyond. It's up to you, whoever you are, to decide that's a choice that you would like to have and make. By virtue of the fact that you're on this call, tells me to some degree or another, whoever you are, you're willing to at least explore that potential for yourself. I know that it's out there, but this is a radical transformation on Earth. And so it's up to every individual to decide now. Let's talk about this concept of Black Lives Matter and I Can't Breathe, this concept. It's very important that you understand, it's very important that we understand what we're saying to the universe. We're in a now time-space reality where what you say to the universe really matters. And when you start telling the universe that you can't breathe, you are creating a time-space reality of suffocation, lack of oxygen, lack of air. Now link that to rainforests being burned down and fires that basically depleted our lungs of the earth. Think Brazil, think California, think Australia. That is not a time-space reality that you really want to line up with. We're being asked to become more conscious of ourselves as creators. At the same time, when we say Black Lives Matter, it is true, all lives matter. All lives matter. In the lower dimensional timeline realities, people are being asked to transmute their bigotry and their racism. Why? If you want to be visited and connect with benevolent star family races, benevolent alien beings who are future generations, who want to support and assist us here through this birthing of humanity, you're gonna have to free yourself from any ideas of what you're supposed to look like on the outside, including what color your skin is, or what gender you are, or what an external authority is or means to you. Because like, if an external authority seems to you, whoever you are, to be malevolent or controlling or aggressive or not, you know, however you judge an external authority, you have to work through that on the lower timelines and claim your own authority in the higher timelines, the royalty that is within you, the crown of your own royal codes, which again are in the DNA and can be activated and claimed by anyone who understands this. Now, let's also understand that this is so important. In the quantum reality, quantum physics and spiritual truth. Oh yeah, I do have to say that. Let me just ask, I'm asking my guidance if it's meant to come first or after. Doesn't matter, either or. Have to remember to say it. I just gotta anchor it in. Hold on. Yes, thank you. In the quantum reality of subatomic particle, all consciousness now is being synchronized, law of synchronicity, and organized, which is part of the law of synchronicity, and rematerialized, and this happens every now moment, all the time, into your personal, what we could call holographic reality, or another boat coming, or your dream space, your dream state of your reality. So effectively, your consciousness, your awareness, your perspective, and the vibrational bandwidth of your perspective is identified in the field of quanta, non-physical, subatomic particles of consciousness. Law of synchronicity, only one law here we're addressing, but they all work together. Law of synchronicity is a law, universal law on six-dimensional plane of existence, synchronizes and orders and brings together into the material to create and reflect your reality to you. So what are you believing and perceiving, and what is showing up in your reality as true, real, right, and accurate? And whatever that is, that's reflecting to your consciousness. What are you believing and perceiving? Now, this is so important right now because this aligns with, if you've seen any of my recent videos on YouTube, the concept that you're basically, we've been in the train station, so to speak, the cosmic holding pen, so to speak, picking our train, picking our reality, and choosing what we are going to see and perceive and vibrate in harmony with going forward. Now, if what you are seeing and witnessing is something you don't like, or you judge to be wrong or bad or fearful, that vibrational resonance is yours to work through at a very accelerated rate now, because things are accelerated, massively accelerated. And because of that, it's being impressed upon you, all of us, with more and more amplified, cannot miss the sign type of awareness, right? So to have an experience that's more desirable to you, all of us, which we generally would term benevolent, we must become resonant with that energetically and vibrationally, and it must be more and more of what we project onto the external reality and what we perceive. So I hope this is making sense. I think it is, especially for people who know my work and my teachings. This will make more sense. And especially, thank you for saying you're not hearing the boats. That's helpful. Especially, especially if you've ever been, in any of my classes or workshops, I know this will make more sense to you. Now, everything you're witnessing on all the layers of reality, and they're all vibrational bandwidths of law of synchronicity, organizing and bringing together this physical reality, all overlapping. Remember, you are a perspective looking through a prism. And if what the reflection of that prism is showing you don't like, all you really need to do is be in vibrational harmony, neutrality, non-judgment, and say, I'd like a new viewpoint, please. I'd like, what else would be possible that would be more aligned with my happiness, my fulfillment, my joy, my peace, whatever vibratory frequency you would like. And then you allow that in without self-sabotaging yourself. Now, I got to say something that this is what I was told to say earlier many times. It's going to sound like I'm a little bit jumping here, but it's important. Why is it important not to put yourself in immediate proximity with someone or something that could cause you harm, even though you know, if you have been with me on my calls and you've activated immunity and imperviousness in your bioenergy field, in your own DNA, and you're having the knowing like you're immune and impervious? Why is it important not to put yourself directly in the face of harm. Why? Does anyone know? I would like to hear why you think that is, especially from people who are in my classes. Does anyone have any idea? Why don't you put yourself, just because you're immune and corona, for example, COVID, why is it important not to stand in front of someone who's coughing in your face? And to choose what's right for you, to either wear a mask or not wear a mask based on what feels right for you. That's right. It pulls you into a lower reality. Not a mirror issue. Mirror's not a problem. Everything's a mirror. Because it will lower your vibration. This game is not a game. And there's another reason. There's a second reason. No longer need to sacrifice. Yes. Love you. I want to see, who are these names? These are the people who know me. Weakens your field and vibration. It really can't weaken your field and vibration, but it does pull on you. And it can it lowers your base vibratory state. You're not meant to be a martyr. You're not meant to self-sacrifice. You're meant to serve through joy and love. Now, there's a second reason which I haven't seen here, and this is important. And that is because the laws of nature, which still apply in the third dimensional paradigm, and we're still in a physical paradigm, we still have nature here, but the laws of nature in our 5D paradigm can be easily shifted and changed. For example, on our crystal retreat in Arkansas, we learned how to work with changing the weather, for example. We never work contrary to the laws of nature. We play with them, but we never challenge them, and we never try to override them. That would be disrespectful. So therefore, if a person has coronavirus and they're standing in front of you coughing, sorry, COVID, this is just one example. If they're spewing hatred at you, if they're judging you, if they're fighting with you, if they're arguing with you, if they're playing in a lower vibratory state, and you go in there, I'm immune and impervious, and you start egoically challenging the laws of nature that say, hey, if you stand in front of someone with a virus that's contagious, potentially, we don't even know if that's not really true, but anyway, that's okay. Let's use this as a learning example. And you stand in front of them and you try to defy the laws of nature. No, no. Law of nature will say, don't you try to defy me. That's your ego. Your ego trying to defy the law of nature says, let's just give you a little virus so you can learn to respect and honor the lower realms. So you don't stand in front of someone just because they have it. I'm sorry, I'm being so passionate about this, but when somebody tries to disrespect and dishonor through their own peanut gallery game of needing to disprove someone who spent their lifetime dedicated to this, that does trigger me a little. Because I have dedicated my life to this, and I have learned you do not challenge the laws of nature. You honor and respect the lower dimensional paradigms. Now, what are they learning in the lower dimensional paradigms when they see somebody dishonoring and disrespecting someone? What does it mean to respect? What does it mean to respect someone when he says he can't breathe? What does it mean to respect someone's physical freedom, to not have to be forced to take an inoculation? What does it mean to respect someone's boundary or space? What does it mean to respect someone's personal truth and authority? What does it mean to respect and honor one another? Now, if you haven't learned that, and you go stand in front of someone who has COVID, or someone who's screaming hatred at you, or someone who's fighting at you, or someone who's got a brick or a gun, and you want to start playing with that, you're going to get entangled in it. So that's why, even though you are carrying codes of immunity and imperviousness in your DNA, assuming that you've activated it, even though you've claimed your royalty, which you are, we are all royal beings, even though you're vibrating at a higher frequency, you're not going to go there and stand there just to try to prove that you're a healer or to prove that you're immune to something, because your ego doesn't need to prove anything. And because the law of nature has taught you already to respect and honor the lower realms. Law of nature is only a law of lower third dimensional construct. It is not a universal law, which is why you can go past the law of nature in 5D. You can start working with the law of nature and completely transforming things of the natural world when you start aligning with 6th dimensional laws of the universe, which you've got to know those, by the way. Does this make sense to everybody? Does this make sense? How's everyone doing with this? I realize it's very progressive information. So I would love to see and hear any, I gotta just do some, find someone's got some, I don't know where that noise is coming from, but how's this making sense, everybody? I'm just tapping around. People are getting it. Hi, Carrie. Hi, Sharon. All right. All right, I don't see who's on this other conference call. That I'm going to mute you guys. There we go. So I got some people unmuted on this new technology. All right, good. So is this making sense? I've got 3 different platforms I'm navigating through. And is this helpful to you? Yes, it makes sense. Yes. Wisdom wins, not ego. Yes. Thank you. Okay, so I hope this video gets out there. I do want to get it out live, but I don't know how my guidance will guide me afterwards, because it's so important to understand. Even on social media, if someone's hating on, it doesn't matter who you hate on. If you're hating on Trump, if you're hating on Hillary, if you're hating on the Democrats, if you're hating on the Republicans, playing a divide and conquer game. If you're doing your best to share some version of the truth, and all truths are valid on all levels and layers of consciousness. They're simply perspectives in the prism of reality. They're just perspectives in the quantum that allows Source, Creator, God, to view reality from every possible angle. And you as an individuated being have an opportunity to make a choice about what experience you would like to have through the viewership that you choose and how you're going to view. So now, it doesn't matter who you're hating. It doesn't matter if you're judging a brick as bad. And I get it. I'm in there. I'm like, you saw some of my posts on YouTube. Sometimes I'm like, arrest Bill Gates. You know, sometimes I'm like, and we will call out like anyone who is perpetuating, deliberately engaging in crimes against humanity. If you're with me, agree. Whoever they are, doesn't matter. If they're engaging in crimes against humanity, either knowingly or unknowingly, completely and totally remove them now from power and positions of power and authority, because they have no dominion in the higher realms. And it is time for humanity to be freed and liberated. And it is our choice, but we can't do it if we're being brainwashed and secretly coerced by other people who haven't woken up yet to these higher truths. So we as light workers have the right to say to the field, it is time. Remove those who are deliberately causing harm and or detriment to the collective. This is no longer acceptable in these realms, in any realm. And we ask that it be done in the most benevolent, loving, kind ways possible. We're not trying to harm anyone necessarily. That might be a fallout of it, but we do understand that it is time for humanity to be freed and liberated, and that other beings who are still perpetuating crimes against humanity must be removed from their positions of power immediately, as kindly and benevolently as possible, for the 100% positive upliftment for all of humanity. That is this window. That is this 2020 gateway. We got 1 year now. Like the end of the year, this will be done. And what we will have is what we call the fractalization of reality, because those who want to continue to perpetuate their old games, they have that choice. And if that's what they're choosing, the law of free will, intent, consent, and authority is still here. And so if they keep giving their power away to the television, false authorities, false authority figures, lower timeline realities, unfortunately, that is their choice. We judge it as unfortunate, but the divine does not judge it. Okay, they can have their reality. Unfortunately, that reality will self-destruct, and that is a self-destructive timeline reality, and it must fractal off now for the preservation of humanity as we evolve, as we continue to evolve at an extremely accelerated rate. That is what we are here for, and that is the true, real, organic ascension timeline. So if you're in my tribe and community, which you are if you're here, I'm assuming that's a choice that you're making. And I'm just so loving the light around me. It's so cool. Okay, I hope this is helpful to you guys. Yes, making sense. And I love looking at your questions, but I don't always have time to look at them all in a call like this, right? Okay, but I do see a good question that sort of looked like a juicy question, which was, I'm going to address two of these. I want to talk about the crystals, of course, very important, right? Someone says, Rebecca asks, what's defining our progress? There's multiple questions in here. Didn't think the ego still being a part of what we need to monitor. Well, it's not. I don't think I said that, but I think we have to be aware of our own personality, beliefs, and belief systems, our projections, because we are individuated beings, and that's usually referred to as an ego. I'm not of the mindset actually that you have an ego. I don't agree with that belief system. That's the lower dimensional belief system. I'm of the mindset that you are God, and so am I. And we are not the whole of the one true divine source of limitless consciousness, limitless potential, limitless wisdom, limitless love, infinite. We're not the whole. We are aspect of it, a part of it, part of that whole. So I'm of the belief that you are God, and so am I, and therefore you do not have an ego. But that's my frequency bandwidth. And I know I've never heard that from anyone before. So it's just given to me, right? So to share. And I think that's important realization when we start recognizing ourselves as aspect of that source. You don't have any ego. That in a lower dimensional bandwidth, you identified as a being with an ego. You believed that because we were told it. No, start identifying as the God that you are. The God, sovereign being, waking up to yourself as the divinity and as fully, wholly, and completely connected, integrated into that divine source, part of that divine source, and that it's emanating in, through, and around you and everyone and everything else. Okay, but that wasn't even the question that called me in there, Rebecca, because what she said is, we're still being called to open our hearts, for sure. And she said, I think anyone on a call like this doesn't have to open their heart. Well, we're all opening our hearts more and more. Depends, where we all are. We're all in different places, and limitless love, I mean, it's emanating through the heart center, through all aspects of us. So we're always up-leveling, opening, and expanding. But of course, we're all opening our hearts. So, wherever we are on our journey. But she says, what's defining our progress? That's what I wanted to address. What's defining our progress is us. Us. How do you define your own progress? Are you resonating as who you were? Are you resonating as your future potential? Are you resonating as a being who recognizes that you can embody and emanate and vibrate so wholly and completely in a frequency of love and peace and joy, and that you can pretty much be so merged with that, so fully aligned with those frequencies, those vibratory states of being, that no matter what's going on in your external reality or what you perceive through the window of your reality, no matter what badness or wrongness, you are still in your frequency. You're still knowing that you are God embodied, aspect of source, being that and emanating that and sharing to the best of your ability and service and contribution everywhere, whatever you can do to support humanity in ways that feel good and right and aligned with your divinity. Can you see yourself as that? And if you can you measure your own progress? Because that's what defines our progress. It's individuation as part of the collective, as part of the whole. Now, you get to define your progress. That's just part of my definition. If you look to the external reality to define your progress, you might not see it there. You might not see it there. It depends on your perspective. Because if you look at the systems collapsing, you might see that through the eyes of fear, the vibration of fear. Oh my God, the systems are collapsing. If you see it through the eyes of a light worker or a starseed, you're like, bravo, those systems are collapsing. Progress. What's your perspective? How do you define progress? It's up to you. It's up to all of us to decide. So I hope that's helpful. It is my perspective that these systems will continue to collapse, and I wasn't doing a channel. It's meant to come through because I'm hearing that a channel could come through and share more on this. Just ask. The group collective, the higher consciousness of the group collective would like to come through. I'll allow. Brothers and sisters of the light, as you are all gathered here today with the intention and desire to know more and to understand more clearly and fully about regarding the progress of your reality, of your human experiment and experience. Allow it to be known. Great progress has indeed been made. Great progress towards the liberation of humanity has indeed been made. Great advancements of humanity's awareness has indeed been made. And while for many of you, you may not be direct witnesses of this, our collective experience on the higher realms clearly sees a progression of linear time where humanity rejoins as cosmic citizens and galactic members, unified in a peaceful and loving galaxy, and a peaceful and loving universe, and a peaceful and loving cosmic experience. This will become more and more apparent in the coming years, not far off from your now moment. Of course, it is necessary to also provide this clarity that not all will experience the reality quite in this way. It is most significant to say, to provide this analogy, consider one path along a road or in nature, and the path divides. And it would seem that the path separates in different directions, and indeed it does. And at the same time, the path that separates further fractals into two secondary forks, so to speak, one of which re-emerges with the main primary path, which is to say, once again, that many will choose other paths. But your path, this group collective overall, is a path of a unification, a unifying. And while, again, from lower constructs, it's not always clear, entirely clear and obvious to all, from our vantage point, it is very clear. As the summer comes of your linear time, which is emerging upon you now and which will intensify through the eclipse window, and oh, there was a shift of this speaker, sorry. I did not identify, hear that though. Okay, a slight shift to, please identify. It's my team, not the collective of our group speaking. That's okay, thank you, my team. It was a very fast shift. As the summer approaches and as you begin to reveal, you will begin to reveal more to yourselves about the progress you have made indeed, as this question was stated earlier, so it is being more fully addressed. The summer eclipses will bring to even more of a head that which has been secret and clandestine, that which has been unknown. And as it is, it will be for humanity to unpack and reveal, decide and choose with more clarity about where you are going. Of course, it has been laid in the groundwork enough that you will choose peace, and you will choose forgiveness, and you will choose love, And you will choose the higher path and the higher road in almost all of your endeavors. This will be done. And you will know it more and more as linear time progresses. And you will find that as the year comes to a completion, much of this will be swept away, worked out, dismantled. The dismantling is still happening. The birth of the new beginnings. The seeds have been laid, of course. You will start to see those seeds sprout as the new year begins. For now, stay the course as you are rightly aligned. You are rightly aligned. Know that where you are meant to be is where you are at. Know that where you are going to is where you are meant to be going. Trust in yourself and remain in the state of intention that what is most benevolent shall come to pass, for it has been done, it will be done, and it is done. And so it is. Okay, good. Thank you. That was good. That was cool. That was awesome. Helpful? Was that helpful? How's everyone doing there? Awesome. Okay, good. I like seeing your comments. I read them afterwards more thoroughly because I can't get to them all. All right. Good, good. Yeah, Sarah's saying it's been said that many souls are choosing to leave this year. Is it because they decided they can be of better service on the other side? In some cases, yes. You know, every person and animal chooses their journey. We choose our journey and we get choices along the way and choice points, but there's no guarantee in our physical world that we're going to live forever. I mean, when did that guarantee come? That's not a guarantee. And we all have exit points. And this is a time when there's a mass collective who's saying, I have gone as far as I want to go on a soul level, right? The human personality self doesn't do this. I mean, the human personality self and the animal personality wants to live. That's written into our, you know, our unconscious. I mean, the fight flight wants to live, right? We go into fight flight if life is threatened. That's an unconscious, automatic kind of program, right? Operating system. So, but on a soul level, if someone's completed their journey at this time and they're ready to move on, this is a big exit window for a big part of the collective, as we've seen. And very likely it may be that their choice is to continue to be of service in the non-physical. It may be that they're choosing to incarnate again at a future point in time and space when they get to continue their lessons in a way where more of the collective density will be lifted. They may be choosing to go to some other star system, or we don't always know what that is. I mean, that depends on individual parts of the journey. So I hope that helps. I hope that's helpful. You know, when I've said that in the past, it was never ever to be dishonoring or disrespectful of any person's journey, because I think when we honor the transition that some person or animal is making from the physical to the non-physical, we always want to, you know, do our best to honor their life and their transition, and to hold space for them to shift to the highest frequency that they possibly can during and after their transitional period. So I hope that's helpful. Okay, I want to talk about the crystals, because that was certainly part of this. And I want to share with you that I will definitely be doing, sorry, let me grab some water, more of these calls, right, to help and support humans. For anyone who has been following me on my social media, you've seen I've been traveling. I relocated from Florida. I no longer am a Florida resident officially. It was not an easy journey for me either. I had to, I mean, it was a long letting go period. It was a big letting go of its own. And I knew that I was dropping out, you know, my old storyline and my old culmination of what led to that time. And then there was the last 2 weeks I've been traveling cross country, not cross country, I'm not even all the way there. I'm in Arkansas. So I drove from Southern Florida to Arkansas, where I am now. And I chose this place on purpose for a transition time for me, knowing that humanity is going through transition, because I resonate with the lake and the crystals, the crystal beds here. And it's a starseed home. The crystals are a starseed. The crystals call starseeds and lightworkers to us. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit more. But what I do want to just say, as we sort of shift off the last part of our call, you know, like what we've covered so far, was to say that I drove through 6 states. I drove through them a lot. I was a lot of driving. And I drove through Tallahassee. I drove through Memphis. I drove through, and this is not the right order because this is Birmingham, Huntsville, Alabama, Scottsboro, Alabama. I mean, I drove through a lot of states where I drove through Georgia at one point. I was in Georgia, I was in Mississippi at one point. I just want to say that I did not see a single bit of violence, not a single bit. And when I drove through Memphis, I had never been there before. And I found out after where I got to Arkansas that it's categorized as the 4th most dangerous city in the country of the United States. I did not see a single bit of violence. I did not see any danger. I passed by the steps of the state capitol in Tallahassee. I drove past, and they were very peaceful protesters. Now, I realize I'm in my own paradigm of reality. I get it. I understand how quantum physics works. I understand that I am a peaceful person, and I understand that that is my vibrational resonance, and that's what would show up in my reality. That said, it does make me further question the lamestream media narrative. And I think and would suggest to you that you question, with every bit of discernment that you have, the lamestream media narrative. And I will say that the lamestream media is controlled by 6 conglomerates. Those same 6 conglomerates are owned by the richest global elites on planet Earth, names you don't hear about in governments, but they do control the banking systems, and they are linked to organized religion. You can do the research on this. We don't need to go into that. We just need to understand enough to make sure we don't get entangled in false narratives and false storylines where people are being brainwashed and manipulated through lamestream media. And I understand when I went through Memphis, that was a divine appointment, because I was not necessarily knowing what would happen. I didn't actually want to go through Memphis. I actually wanted to have more time in Memphis so that I could go. I thought I was going to go to Graceland. Like, I wanted to go there. I just thought that was somewhere I wanted to go see Graceland. I'm not like a huge country fan, you know, or Elvis like fan, but I just think that's like a piece of history. And I wanted to go to Memphis at a time when I had time to be there. So I wasn't planning. I wanted to try to avoid Memphis, but there's no way I could. I had to go through Memphis. And I was there on the day of the eclipse, the 5th, the last eclipse we just had, and going through there, you know, I faced my own perspective of minority, poverty, the perspective of the potential of violence, gangs. I mean, there are gangs. I didn't know any of that. I thought Memphis was like going to be like this cool Nashville. I didn't know what to expect. I thought it was going to be a tourist trap, kind of like Vegas. That's what I thought. And the reason I think I was meant to go through there was to experience one of what's termed to be one of the most violent cities in the country, and to be able to say it clearly, I didn't see any violence. I saw kind people seemingly helping one another. I saw this, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, there's poverty. I'm not immune and impervious to the realization of what exists in the world. I drove right through there, but I am living proof that what our vibrational frequency bandwidth is what's revealed to us. So I don't know parallel reality, what might have gone on, or I just think that's part that I was supposed to drive through there on that day so that I could be the demonstration in my own way. I am a demonstration that what I teach and what I share, I am the living embodiment of my own personal experience, sharing it. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm not so, what's that word? I'm not so disassociated from reality, from the physical reality that the world's going through. And at the same time, I'm living proof that we can go through reality and have the experience of our choice. And I think that's why I went through, there was no way I could redirect myself to not go through Memphis on the road that I was, where my destination was, which is Arkansas. So I hope that makes sense. I said that in a kind of roundabout way. But the overall purpose is to help you understand we're not disassociating with reality. We're recognizing the higher truth that your vibrational resonance, your being is what's going to create your experience. Inside out living. I've been talking about this for years. So who I am is what was reflected around me, even on a day of eclipse in basically KKK territory. I mean, that's where that was birthed, right? Isn't that the territory really? Where it was all minorities, the lowest poverty and the highest potential violence in that city. Just that's according to statistics. I just did the searching because I didn't even know that that's what I was going through. I had no preconceived ideas. I just knew who I was and I knew where I was going to. And I hope that's to help you understand. Like, I'm not saying or suggesting you disassociate or pretend. I'm saying be who you are meant to be and hold that knowing within your field while still honoring and respecting everyone and everything around you to the best of your ability. Okay. All right. So moving on, Arkansas. I am sitting on the crystal bed here and you can see a little bit of the lake behind me. I am at a friend's Airbnb where I was invited to stay, and I'm so grateful and happy to be here. So I lead a crystal retreat, which is part of what I want to bring up here. Of course, I would like to invite you all to the crystal retreat. The next one will be in September. I'll put the link in. I didn't do this earlier. I meant to, but I kind of forgot. So the crystal retreat that I lead is here in Arkansas. Hold on a second. So it's designed for lightworkers, starseeds, way showers. It's incredibly community oriented. I want to talk about the crystals and what they're doing, but let me just first mention the crystal retreat before we get into the crystals and how they're helping you with your DNA. And we want to talk about the DNA, the crystals, and their role in Ascension. That's what I'm going to use more of our time with. And then I would like to be able to, if we can, do some healing, global healing, if that's possible. I don't know, we'll just flow with the time. But like I said, I'll be doing these calls weekly, so stay in the community and you'll get more. And they're always new and different and based on what's meant to come up and what's happening. I want to talk about in the next call, definitely we'll be talking more about the eclipse window of the summer and the solstice, because I'm not going to cover that so much today. But anyway, so on my website, under the live events tab, you can see the Starseed and Lightworker crystal experience. I'm just going to quick copy the link and put it in, if I can put it in the Zoom chat room. So I've been leading this retreat now. There's the link on the chat. And we'll try to do it as well, if I can, on the other one. It's in the chat room for the audio one as well. I don't know how to do it on this new technology because I'm not advanced enough on it. Queue is empty. I don't know how to do that. So, okay. the date of it, which is in that link and on my website under the live events tab, it's this September. I've been doing it for 3 years now. And September 17th through the 21st is the main part. And then there's an extension from the 17th to the 20 through the 24th. And it's right here in Hot Springs and then in Mount Ida. And what we do during this retreat, I want to say what's best about it is the camaraderie, the friendship, the community, the social. To me, that's what's best. And we got another boat coming. And that's why I says, at the time I was living in Florida, 3 years ago when I was living in Florida, I was finding it very challenging to make friends there. I was feeling very separated, as many Starseeds and Lightworkers, we often do feel quite separated. We've been positioned around the planet in various places to hold light and to anchor in light and to anchor into the grids, which I'll talk about. That's connected to the crystals. And I was in Florida. I mean, that's a really dense area. It's flat. And I mean, if you just think about what what weather means, humidity is blocked, trapped emotion, and, you know, density, heaviness of emotion. That's how that translates. And I mean, that place was quite challenging for me. And I posted on this on my Facebook also that, pardon me here, I just want to, there's wind blowing. I posted on my Facebook about, you know, that I was living on the 3 toughest lines you could live on, right? On my Uranus, Pluto, Saturn intersection, which means I was doing like some serious karma there. And it was tough, you know, and my karmic stuff was up there, and I did the work that I was there to do, karmic work, service contribution, and my own freedom and liberation that supported humanity. But I was lonely, and while I lived there, it was tough. So I organized this crystal retreat really to bring camaraderie. And I know that that's so typical of Starseed, Lightworker, Indigo Tribe communities, that sense of isolation and loneliness. And I felt very drawn to the crystals. I have a whole story about like my experience with the crystals and how I fell in love with this place. In early 2011, I came here and I didn't even know, like, why was I coming to Arkansas? Like, what was I coming to Arkansas for? And I mean, I came to like something that was called the Starseed retreat, and I was like, who cares? Like, I wasn't even connected to the crystals in a conscious way at that time. I remember going on the retreat and everybody was buying crystals, and I thought it was kind of frivolous, and I didn't get it, you know? And what happened was, one of my dear friends, who is still one of my besties, she bought a crystal, and that night she went in the middle of the circle and she just channeled some beautiful light language and song. And while she was holding this crystal, and I was like, done. That was it. I was like, oh my God, something got activated in me. The next day I went out and bought my first crystal, and I became a crystalholic ever since, in a good way, right? A good kind of addiction. And oh shoot, I should have had my crystals out here for this. Like, they're in the other room. And okay, I fell in love with Arkansas. It wasn't hard. Look how beautiful it is. If you're a nature person like I am, and you like swimming, this lake, it's not like any other waters. And I have swam in waters all over the world, Hawaii, they're all beautiful. I love water. I'm a water girl. I love nature. I love swimming. But these waters, these crystals, you swim in these waters and your whole body vibrates. You come out vibrating, and you do a meditation, your whole body, every crystal lights up in your brain. Colors, lights, everything, your pineal gland and pituitary gland, your psychic gifts come online. Your internal vibratory state is so elevated, you get activated. That's what these crystals do. And they're sitting in lake beds here in Arkansas, and they're under these waters. Now these crystals, I'm so bummed I didn't bring the crystal with me. I might just make you guys wait and go run and grab some of my crystals from Arkansas so I can show you. I'm going to do it because there's a plane running by. Okay, can you guys hang in 30 seconds? Okay, hang with me. Okay, perfect time for overhead noise. So I want to show you, okay, these are two examples of Lemurian crystals. Now these crystals, many of you know already. I mean, many of you know, especially there's people on the call who were on the crystal retreats that we did. These crystals are basically in the inner earth. You could do a Google search and you would find incredible stuff on the crystals of the inner earth. But these crystals, many of us know them. They are in the Western world or the third dimensional reality, they call them quartz crystals. In the fifth dimensional reality, we know they're Lemurian crystals. And love those boats. And these Lemurian crystals, they are activating crystals for not only your DNA, but your remembrance. They're holding codes and information and energy in them. The Lemurian crystals are as unique as your thumbprint. So every Lemurian crystal has information encoded into it, and we could call these keys. These are keys and key codes. Where do you think I get this information about DNA? That's not the only place I get it. If you've done DNA activations, but they are coded in these crystals. Animals have them, the sun has them, planets have them. It's on all of consciousness. Okay, I've just been working with it for so long. But when you start understanding what these crystals are doing and how they're here helping us to ascend and to activate not only our DNA, the light codes in our body. I mean, just look, why do you think they're so, okay, you could say in the the third dimensional reality, you could easily say, well, all this light around her, it's just the sun. And you'd be right. But also, it's not the sun, and the light around us is what's is attracted to us and emanating from us as we start awakening this within us. Now, it's well known at this point in the Lightworker community that the evolution of humanity is shifting from Homo sapien to Homo divinicus, Homo luminous. We haven't picked either or both, but it's basically the divine human and the light human. We're shifting our bodies from carbon-based to crystalline-based. What is this crystalline? It's a crystalline silicate matrix, which is basically anchored into these crystals, which are under the lake beneath me. Now, when we come here and we swim in that lake and we're playing in that lake and we're meditating on the lake and around the lake, and this isn't the exact location where we go. I'll talk about that more too. When we start working with these crystals, positioning them on our bodies, interacting with them in a conscious way, which, by the way, telepathically, your pineal gland activates and opens. You can activate your psychic abilities in such an advanced, accelerated way. You learn how to use them for healing, for yourself, for your animals, for others. If you're a healer, you can certainly enhance your practice. Any form of healing modality will benefit. In a way, it's like these crystals themselves, they're just another tool. Okay, you get to give yourself permission if you want to use the tool or not. You don't have to. You could say, like I did when I first came here, the first time, when I was like, why is everyone spending all their money on crystals? Like, why? What's the big deal? And then when I saw that, I was like, I'll have some of that. I gave myself permission. So in a sense, it's a permission slip, because the truth is, you're God. Everything is a matter of permission and vibratory state. At the same time, so you don't have to choose it from the crystals, but at the same time, these tools were put into the physical reality to assist us as we evolve. And these particular tools, they are designed to facilitate our ascension and transformation as we evolve to Homo divinicus and Homo luminous. Now, the amazing thing about these crystals, in addition to having all this capacity and starting to learn what they do is, when you start interacting with them in a conscious way, they not only call you to them, you interact with them, they start adapting to you. They're like, if you're into the health food movement, which I am too, you know that certain supplements are adapters. They're adaptogens. They adapt to your body to give your body what you need most. It's like the most brilliant part of the nature kingdom. where it created adaptogen, holistic supplements that adapt to your body. Okay, so do the crystals. They will adapt to you and your needs, your physiology. This is true for animals too, of course. And by the way, animals are welcome on our sacred crystal journey, provided that they are well behaved, appropriate. They know how to behave appropriately in groups, and they can be peaceful and quiet when we're in meditative states, and they don't have any, improper, behaviors that would disrupt our group or create any forms of mess, or, I love animals, so they're always welcome. And I picked a place for our group where they are welcome. Anyway, so they adapt to you, and they adapt to your animals too. So they become healing tools, activators, they facilitate DNA activation. And this, very few people know this, although I think more people are starting to know it. I know I've been talking about it for a while now, is that, I learned this from the crystals themselves, they're the highest frequency, highest being relative, purest frequency of all physical substance on earth, even higher and purer than gold and platinum, which are the other two highest frequencies, and then roses, rose of the nature kingdom, the various roses. So of the nature kingdom, you have roses. Of the elemental kingdom, you have gold and silver. The crystalline kingdom is an offshoot of the elemental kingdom. So the crystals are the highest frequency of the known physical world. Now, when you start interacting with something like that, it's going to naturally, by default, increase your vibration, raise your vibration, and bring your physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, energetic, light body, auric, into vibrational resonance with the next highest vibrational frequency that you as an individual, or your animal, or your client, or your loved one who you're working with can attain, can at any point when you're working with it. So that's what's so incredible about these crystals. Now, on the retreat that we do, we're learning how to do this stuff. We're interacting. We do 2 crystal digs. One of them is a private dig where we're the only ones on the mountain. We do swim in the lake. We do a boat ride as a group. We have I've been doing this now for years, so it's been improving every year. We have a woman who harvests the mud, the dirt that the crystals are in, and she has a process that she's developed that she grinds it, and we do a mud bath with our whole bodies. And then, we like do a mud party in the park, and then we go into the lake and we wash it off and we swim in the lake. And of course, tons of meditation, healing, and activations are part of it, of course. We also swim in the hot springs while we're here. We go for the hot springs, and then we do 2 outings. That's the extension part. We do 2 outings where we go literally into, the most beautiful, undiscovered. We do have to drive there, right? We carpool, waterfalls, swimming holes, and heaven. It is heaven. And we're there as our own group. And yeah, we do a boat ride. And then the other great thing that we do with these crystals is I have a friend here whose house I'm staying at, actually, who is a wholesaler. So by the way, you can pull a crystal like this out of the earth at one of the digs that we do. One of the digs, the private mountain one, it's not a mined crystal dig. So it's kind of like, you're not really going to get something like this. You get little bits and pieces, but they're very pure, and they're starseed, beautiful little pieces. The other dig that we do is much more mined, and when it means mined, it means they're working with the dirt to move dirt. So, and they open what's called pockets. When they open a pocket, that means they're accessing undiscovered earth and crystal pockets, where they're literally in pockets, what's called pockets. So we can, I've pulled crystal out this size. It's not every crystal. It's not, this is a find. This is a big find. So, but you can find them, right? But then in addition to that, we do buy them. And the friends that I have are wholesalers, and they're giving us wholesale prices. So, it's not store prices. Like that's a new find for me this year. I didn't even have that last year. That's since I've been so connected to this place, more has been, you know, and I'm always asking, like, how do we make this the absolute best that it can be? And what's the most magnificent that it can be? And so that's so amazing, right? Because you can get the most amazing crystals here. And just look at this crystal, what it's doing. Just look right now at the light. I mean, there's light reflected everywhere, right? It's just, it pulls in the light and it draws in the light. And by the way, that light, it heals physical, emotional. I think I said that already. You start learning to, that's amazing. Look at that. Look at the beauty in that crystal. Look at these lines. Can you see these lines? All of these lines are what's called Starseed codes and records. You can see those lines. This is a beautiful piece. These records and lines are information. And this is key. This is a key. If you can see that. This is what we call a key, like a lock and a key. They look like sometimes this is a key. This has got some really nice pieces. So all of that is information and energy to assist with humanity's ascension. Now, you know, sometimes I'll go on a radio show with someone who doesn't know any of this stuff. They're completely clueless. It's very rare that I do that, but they don't understand how I could possibly talk about this stuff. Like, how could I say this stuff about the DNA? How could I, what do I know? Like, well, this stuff sounds crazy. You have a brain in your heart. You have a brain in your gut. You think that's crazy. These people who don't know. Why don't they know? It's in them too. Why don't they know? They have no clue. Why? Where do you think this information comes from? It comes from activating this within us. I'm not making this stuff up. I'm not the only one on planet Earth who's figured this stuff out. I'm just one of the people who loves it so much and has been able to utilize it and then share it with others. So this is what happens when you start playing with these crystals, meditating on these lake beds, activating your dormant potential and learning how to interact with them. All these kinds of codes and this information, you know it becomes yours. It's not yours to own. That's why you have to give it away. That's what I'm doing here now. But it starts becoming what you resonate with. Oh, there's some really incredible rainbows in here. I don't know if you can see that. Anyway, this is what the joy of these crystals is. And this is, as we learn to interact with them, we can activate all of this knowing within us and untold potential. And by the way, which I haven't referenced that I want to say, is that we have the solutions to the world's problems. I mean, this is the thing. You know, I am really sorry and sad that people are suffering so much from a virus that they're afraid of, to such a degree that they would give up every freedom, that they would allow something to happen or be forcibly injected into their bodies potentially because they're afraid of a virus that their body can naturally resolve. Your body has every immunity in it naturally. You have to activate it and work with it more, but even the regular body has enough immunity in it to fight a virus. But they don't know that anymore, because I'm sad about that for humanity. Not sad in a place that I would allow myself to just go into deep sadness, but you know, there's a sadness there. But I get it. When you start working with this stuff, you know, you have the solutions to help that. You have the solutions. And if you have the solution, like, hey, I can help you activate immunity in your body. Now, I'm not the only one. I'm not selling anything here. I'm just not in that sense. I'm just teaching. You know you've got that and you can share it. And you can learn how to do it and share it to help humanity. Aren't you going to do it? Aren't you going to stand from the mountaintops and be like, this is so good, you have to get it? Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, in that sense, I'm selling something because I want you to come on the journey with us. But the truth is, it's yours to learn. It's yours to give and to share. You have the codes and the solutions for the whole of humanity. If you were afraid of a 5G grid, for example, and this grid going up and interfering with the energy field of the body to the point that it might make the body incapable of fighting a virus, for example, or that it might just make someone so stressed out or in so much anxiety or incapable of discernment or knowing that they actually do have a heart brain and they do have a gut brain. By the way, Institute of Heart Math has already scientifically validated that. if you know that you have that within you and you can start sharing it with humans so that they don't have to be afraid of a 5G grid, because they can also hold their bioenergy field so perfectly. And by the way, the crystals, this came from my participant of last year's journey. And she also came on the dolphin journey when I was leading those. She was like, I think we have something that's much more advanced than 5G in our technology already. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Let me tune in on that. And when I tuned in, what I got is she picked it up from the crystals, because it's already in the crystalline consciousness. I mean, of course, we know we use crystals as timekeepers and record keepers, clock keepers. They operate all of our computers and technology. They have crystals, our watches. Why? They're associated with timekeeping, record keeping, and technology. They are storing information. When she said that, I tuned in. I was like, that makes so much sense. When I asked, she downloaded that consciousness from the crystals that we already have much more advanced technology than even 5G. And she got that from crystal consciousness, from being at the retreat. Now she's holding that in her consciousness, even though she's not the person who's going to bring that through to resolve these issues of 5G. She's holding it in her consciousness while she's anchored into the physical world, and somebody has that in their consciousness. The crystal grid, which is in the inner earth, which is lying beneath Arkansas, is holding that consciousness for humanity. So in other words, what am I saying here? A solution to 5G, we already have it. That's another example. We have the solutions to all the world's problems. The crystals are storing that information for us. It's part of our information. It's been programmed into this information in the crystals by the future versions of ourselves and even past versions of ourselves. Think Lemurian timelines and Atlantean timelines, if you're familiar with that. So I hope this is making sense. So this is why I love these crystals so much. And yeah, I mean, they're just one tool of many. There's lots of great tools, but I will say I love these tools. And if you like the idea of, doing healing in a star group, star family environment of awakening beings, fellow community members, fellow tribe members, if you like the idea of this kind of nature and waking up to this outside and swimming in this kind of water and playing in this kind of environment with these kinds of amazing beings of light, and that appeals to you, I would love to have you join us. I want to say a couple other things too, and then we'll do some healing too. I think we'll have time. What I want to say is where we're staying. Where we stay is actually inside of the national park. And this national park, it's Mount Ida. The resort where we stay is I would call it a high-end resort, but it's incredibly affordable. And I have a room block. So you don't have to worry, like for those of you who join us, you don't have to worry about getting the room. You don't have to worry about picking a roommate. You don't have to worry about even the carpooling. Once the group gets together, we do pre-call together. We get on for a pre-call. Everyone who wants to do carpooling, you can sign up to do carpooling. We share that list. Everybody connects and you can do carpooling. I definitely help facilitate that so that there's some, fairness ground rules set up, like that everyone agrees, everyone chips in the carpooling. And with the housing, what we do is I have a document that shows all the rooms we have reserved. They're beautiful rooms. Every cottage is on the lake with a lake view. Every cottage has a full kitchen that is shared usually between 2 bedrooms or 3 bedrooms. Every cottage has a private jacuzzi, lakefront view. It's very clean and I would say high end, but it is nature cottage. So it's like wooded, but it's lovely. It's a resort style cottage in a national forest. And so anyway, and then we're together every day. So we have dinner together. It's all facilitated. In other words, is what I'm saying. I've had people come from other countries at the other retreats, and they It's very easy. It's literally, you fly into Little Rock Airport, and you know, for those who don't need any help with carpooling, you just get a rental car and come. Some people have in the past decided to get an Uber together. It's an hour and a half from the airport. And once you're there, everything's taken care of, right? I mean, we do a grocery shop for the week, and we make our dinners together, and there is a restaurant at the retreat. So if for some reason you didn't like, or you didn't want to, or we didn't have enough food, which never has been the case. We've always had so much food, and we give it away to the people who live here when we're done. But we eat together, but there is a restaurant if we wanted to or needed to. And there's a health food store down the street for people who want that. And we just do, everything's community. So once you're here, it's all pretty much taken care of. We also do a crystal bath. We have a local person who comes in. We donate to her, but 100% of the donations go to the local animal charity. By the way, I also want to say, I am a big donator. So 10%, a minimum of 10% of everything gross off the top that goes to this retreat goes back either to an animal charity that is a consciousness. I do research my animal charities. They have to be somewhere in the realms of consciousness to some degree, at least, not perpetuating pain and suffering by showing horrible pictures and things, but rather really invested in the good that they're doing. Or else they go to spiritual teachers and healers, because I really do agree and believe in supporting those of us who are on the cutting edge of ascension, so to speak. So your 10% of the gross goes right back to service and contribution for charitable or groups and organizations, especially animal related. Sometimes I do water related too, because I'm big, sometimes women related, but anyway, you can't even know what those are. But that's kind of the overview. And then we have the most amazing support team as well. Last year, my dear friend and fellow lightworker, Holly, was amazing with us on the retreat, and she will be with us again this year. And I do have a second person lined up also to assist. So our needs are taken care of, but it's also totally friendship, camaraderie, just having a great time. So, all right. I think I said enough about that. If anyone has questions about it, I would certainly love to entertain your questions here. We do have limited space in the sense that I have a certain number of rooms booked. You don't have to worry about getting your room book or anything, but once those rooms are filled, I can't guarantee any spaces. And we've already definitely got a good number of people already registered. I'll say again, the link to register is and people are registering right now, I can see, which I'm so excited. The link to register is on my website at lauriespagna.com under the live events tab. And you'll see that link, Starseed Crystal Journey. I will honestly say it was one of the best weeks of my year last year. And I just love it so much. And I just love the group and the camaraderie, the friendship. There are definitely lifetime friendships developed. And these are, by the way, I didn't say this, I want to say this too. These are like 15-hour days. So while there's plenty of time, and anytime you on the journey say, I just want to take time out, I want to go journal, I want to go rest and relax, I want to go sit on the hammock, I want to take the afternoon off, you can do that, right? It's a retreat for you to take time to honor you, but also to have the camaraderie and the healing and the big boat noise. The loud one. The consciousness attack. Oh, there's another one coming. So, you don't have to participate, but they are 15-hour days. So like we wake up, breakfast you do on your own, then you have a little morning time. We meet pretty early in the morning, like around 10 o'clock, not really early. We start doing healing or some kind of activity. And I'll go into this more in the coming weeks because I wasn't really planning on going into the whole itinerary now. But then we have lunch. You can have lunch together or apart. That's up to you. And then the whole afternoon is filled with activities, healings, meditations, or some kind of event, whatever it is, based on the itinerary every day. Then we break. We have some downtime. Then we have dinner together. And then the evening is more. It's channeling, healing, meditation, fabulous, all good. And then the nighttime, like late at night, well, we start to wrap up usually around 12. But again, if you need to stop earlier, you're certainly welcome to do that. At the nighttime, we go out and we stargaze, and we do, and did last year definitely make a lot of extraterrestrial connection with star ships. With ships is pretty cool. And I mean, you'll see how they interact. And I mean, I did some translating, and Holly, who was with me last year, we had some wild stuff happen with there's a lot of star beings over this area. So, okay, so much fun. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to give you the last link to this. I'll put it in the side chats again for anybody who needs the link, but it's at Spagna.com, the events tab. I can still see this link is in the chat on the audio, and I'll put it in the video. If I can find my way. Oh my God, so many things to navigate here. Yay. So there it is. Okay. Yeah, so I want to say for returning alumni, we have a private Facebook page too, where we keep in touch, and all the alumni who want to return, you want to go over to our private Facebook page from last year, because you will get a little extra special for being an alum and coming back. So if you're an alumni, go to our private Facebook page. It's not there yet, but I'll get it there tonight, tomorrow at the latest. You'll get a special alum rate, which I always do loyalty rates. I like to do that, you know, for people who are loyal and love coming back and participate over and over again. And, you know, when you're in the inner circle, you get to benefit from that and reap those rewards too. So, all right. Love you guys so much. So thank you for hearing all that. And I can see that people registered, but I don't know who you are yet. So welcome to whomever you are. Okay, the lodging prices someone's asking. Wow, I don't even have this prepared because I wasn't really thinking about going full blown in on it. But you can check out the lot. First of all, we get a discounted rate, which is basically not the right now. The summer rates are much higher. Because we go after Labor Day. We have a discounted rate, and then there's a little extra because it's a group rate and sharing rates. But the range at the low end is about $88 to $90 a night per person, shared double occupancy in a room, and we'll match you up with, you get to pick your room. We send out, here's the rooms, here's the rates, you know, and you can pick your room, but we can't make any guarantees. But several of the rooms are at an 88 to 92, I think is the window at the low end. The high end is typically 150 approximately a night. It could be, don't quote me exact because this is from last year. And that's for shared rooms. If you go for the highest rate, you could go, I think 160 is the highest rate if you want your own room or a king size bed. So that's the range per night. And you do pay your nightly room. You're responsible for your room rate, and we share our food. So you do grocery shopping for the whole group. And if we eat out, you pay your own fee for your food. But the retreat price is on that page. I didn't even say, because I wasn't thinking about it from that perspective. Like I was just thinking about doing a call, but it's on that page. You'll see it. It's $1,100 for the 5-day retreat. And then if you want to do the extension is $450 for the extra 4 days where we do the extension. And that's when we go into the nature, and we also go to the hot springs. We go to the town of Hot Springs, we shop together, we eat together, and we go into the hot spring baths, which are literally hot springs. We also visit the Arlington Hotel, it's a really cool throwback to the 50s. It's just so cool. We walk through there. We play a little bit with feeling the energy. I mean, nothing's off limits, right? Because it's such an open environment like that. So that additional stay is $450, assuming you register now and before June 30th. After that, it goes up. And if you do the full payment for $1,100, you save some amount of money. I didn't do the math, but you can put down a deposit of $5.95 to hold your space if that feels a little more comfortable for you, and then you can just do the balance of $575 by June 30th. If you decide that you don't want to pay by June 30th, you can still pay after. It's just the rate will go up to $600. So, okay, I hope I made sense there. Wasn't fully prepared for that. I was just doing a group call, but I knew I was going to talk about the crystals, but I wasn't thinking as much going into that because I was planning on doing like a entirely about the retreat call. But anyway, so, okay, any other questions about that? And if not, I will go into we'll do a little healing, like a 15-minute meditation healing. I'm just looking to see if I see any questions specifically about the retreat. Oh, someone asked a good question. How do dowsing and crystals relate or enhance fulfillment that you're explaining? That's a yummy question. It's not really about the retreat, but I'd like to say, how do dowsing and crystals relate to enhance the fulfillment that you're explaining? Okay. Good question. Love that. And that's probably a dowsing friend. So hello to the dowsers who are new from the dowsing retreat. I'm so grateful to have you here. All right. So first, crystals enhance the experience because if you think about it, the old paradigm experience, everything from that old paradigm, that third dimensional paradigm that we're liberating ourselves from, the primary vibrational experiences, they vibrate in harmony with fear, anxiety, worry. Just look what's happening on the world stage. Will I have enough money? Will I get a disease? Will I get a virus? What if I infect my friends? What if I don't get a job? What if I lose my job? It's all fear. And so that experience that they're having, it's not very pleasurable. I mean, you have to work really hard, work like a slave, work for minimum wage, can't afford to live. You know, you don't get enough time off. You don't get enough vacation time. I mean, the world wanted a vacation, right? You can see how COVID helped the world to have a vacation. That was a collective asking. So those experiences overall, there's a lot of addiction. There's a lot of disease. I mean, this is experience. You don't know who to trust. Is your government telling you the truth? Is your local municipality telling you the truth? Is conspiracy happening? I mean, it's all that stuff. It's like, what's going on? It's just not really very enjoyable. So the way the crystals and dowsing helps with that, the crystals, the whole game, name of the game on planet Earth is to basically lovingly and peacefully up-level yourself out of that reality, out of that vibrational bandwidth, and anchor yourself into this new paradigm. The crystals are helping with that. I think I have addressed that, so I hope that makes sense. But I want to get to the dowsing part. The dowsing, which we know crystals are often connected to dowsing pendulums, for example. And by the way, I teach muscle testing and body dowsing on the crystal retreat. You will learn it right away. You will learn it in a group. It will be easy and fun. You'll play with it. And we can use dowsing pendulums, by the way. We do this on the retreat too, to pick your right crystals, to learn what crystals are right for you and meant for you. We use dowsing on the retreat. But one of the ways dowsing can really help us with more fulfillment, specifically related to your question, Ted, is that when you learn how to ask questions, and this is another game we do on the retreat, we learn about how to ask questions that, I call them lofty questions. I don't think I'm the only one who calls them that, but uplifting questions. And you can pendulum and body test on them, muscle test, to navigate your way. What's good and right for you and for your personal journey? What's in your highest alignment? What's for your most benevolent best? What will serve, support, and assist you in a way that feels good and right for you? Is this a right event to, is this a right event to go to? Is this a right food to eat? Is this a right supplement to take? Is this a right crystal to buy? Is it in my highest interest to do this? We're using the pendulums and our bodies to learn not only how to ask those questions and what questions are lofty questions. What is a good question to ask? You have to know what the questions are. We're also learning how to use our bodies and our pendulums to align ourselves with that, to use those pendulums to assist us. And our bodies are pendulums too, of course. That's what helps us navigate in the higher realms and ultimately to have more fulfillment. And that's the name of the game. That's the new paradigm, is about fulfillment and happiness and joy and excitement and optimism and things that are more desirable to us and more fulfilling, more peace, love, and joy based overall. So, okay, I hope I answered your question, Ted. I really liked that. It was an awesome question. I'm just scanning for any other questions before we final wrap with healing. What about the neo-cheaters? I don't know what that means. Maybe you can clarify your question, Dave. Neo-cheaters? I'm not sure what that question means. Is there space to stay in an RV? Someone's asking at the retreat. Yes, there is. You can rent RV space. You wouldn't be in the cabin space with us. You would be at the motel on the main road. They have retreat. There are places that you can park your RV and rent an RV rental spot. And someone did that last year. Actually, 2 women who came, they were from Hawaii, but that wasn't last year. That was the year before, I think. They had RV space. So yes. Just looking really quickly at your questions to see if there's anything in particular there. Okay, Keisha's asking, would you ever do an online course similar to your retreat? I'm all the way from Australia. Yeah, I just recently did complete one. We did a 5-week Lightworker Bootcamp type of retreat online. It was fabulous. And I will be doing another one of those, but I won't be announcing the dates until after the midsummer. So probably right after July 4th, I'll announce that. And there's already people in that group from the last one who registered again. Because what it is it's live coaching, healing, support, channeling, guidance for the group. People get one-on-one support and assistance. Yeah, at least half of the people who did it the last time re-registered again for the next one. That's how good it was. It was worth way more than what Fair Energy Exchange asked for, and I over-delivered. And I feel like I enjoy saying that. I'm not saying that like ego. I'm just saying I feel like it was really great. We had some wonderful camaraderie, even though it was an online retreat. You can see that and learn more about that, since you asked, at the website, LoriSpagna.com. Under the live events tab, you'll see it. It's listed under 5-week Ascension support group, but it was actually 6-week because we did a 6th bonus healing week that they all got included. So I will be doing that again, but the dates aren't announced yet, because right now I'm focused on Arkansas and preparing for our crystal retreat. So I hope that helps with your question, Kaisha. Thank you for asking it. Just looking at any other questions I see. After this year, are they allowed to choose a different reality to figure it out? This is from Emma. She's asking, after this year, are people allowed to choose a different reality? I'll just take a few more questions and then we'll do the meditation for the last 15 minutes because I slated it for 2 hours. What happens is your realities are fractaling all the time, if this makes sense. This stuff is in my sacred the sacred membership online. It's all about bifurcation of timelines and realities. It's so important to know. There's 2 things you gotta know and understand. One is the bifurcation of realities and the separation of timelines that we fully covered in that last 5-week Ascension support group. It's also in the sacred membership. I talk about it in all my newsletters, and in a lot of events like this. We don't have time to go into it today, but your reality is always bifurcating at every moment based on what you perceive and align with, and every truth you see and perceive. And that becomes your reality. So people who aren't choosing to level up are basically leveling down, so to speak, or densing out, right? Dropping out into what we call a lower dimensional reality. And you see they're having problems of sickness and illness, financial collapse. They're having experiences of government control, government takeovers, conspiracy run amok. I mean, that's all going on those lower timelines and stuff being exposed. It's not really fun, right? But if they're brick throwing. I mean, if you get the thing I wrote about in my recent newsletter, you have to start seeing everything as neutral, divinely neutral, and only has meaning according to what you attach to it. A brick is just a brick. Is it meant to be thrown, or does it represent the wall that you had to surmount and climb over to get to where you are? Well, what's a brick? Who did it come from? Who cares? What are you going to do with it and make of it? So what I'm using that as an example, Emma, to answer your question is choosing their reality based on what they do with everything they look at and everything they perceive and everything they interact with. They, all of us, we all are. So I hope that answers your question. After this year, will they be allowed to choose a different reality? It's always happening all the time. But the light is fractaling off from the dark, so to speak. It's the best way I can say it. The high is fractaling. There is a polarization, polarizing realities. Until right now, you need to look at everything like you're looking in on it. And whatever you see, yes, 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 no, thank you. Yes, 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 no, thank you. Yes, 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 no, thank you. Oh, is that leveling me up or bringing me down? What's the truth for me on that? Where do I stand and vibrate with respect to that? You're choosing. After this year, my sense is you won't be able to peer into some of those other realities, and chances are there's realities that have already, I know this is true, I'm hearing a yes to, there's already realities that you can no longer peer into, that they're just not part of your reality anymore. I hope that makes sense. It's complicated subject matter. In the next 5-week group, we will talk about universal laws. We'll cover that because you got to know those too. They're in the sacred membership though, so you don't want to wait. Okay, I think I'm going to pause now unless I see any other. Somebody asked something about the DNA codes of the royalty codes. It's a good question. Are those who have downloaded the royalty codes into their DNA those who are asymptomatic? Not necessarily, not absolutely. Will all beings eventually get the corona as a way of choosing? All right, well, corona meaning crown, royalty codes, and this is how I'm answering it. Royalty codes, I've talked about this on other calls. Royalty codes are, we did them in the Dolphin Retreat. We definitely did them in all my, we did them in all of my retreats on Arkansas. Royalty codes are a choice. You have to choose them. But in other realities that were not ascension timelines, people would have to physically die, cross over, and make their way through whatever purgatory or gate, you know, higher realms to eventually receive this level of consciousness, which is referred to as royalty codes. Now, because we are going through an ascension process, humanity's up leveling, we can have them while we're alive. You have to know that they exist before you can have them. So somebody who thinks it's crazy or hogwash or BS or doesn't believe it or is a skeptic, the chances are won't get it. And the reason they won't get it is because the law of free will, intent, consent, and authority still prevails here, even in 5D. So if someone says, that's BS, that's not true, she's crazy, what's she talking about? This woman's making it up. I don't believe it. They're not going to have them because they're not choosing it. If someone at least says, I would like to know, at least I would like to be willing to know. I'm willing. That's the baseline. You have to be willing. And there's more to it. So when you say the other part of your question was, that looks fun. Will everybody who gets the codes be asymptomatic? Not necessarily, because you could have something else entangled in your energy field that's not cleared. That's part of why I don't tell people to go stand in front of someone who has a cough. Because if you have some other program that's not cleared, like you're afraid to get it, that's a hook. or even if you have immunity and imperviousness, you start to know that you're not asymptomatic. Those are important ones to be, you wouldn't have it. You wouldn't be able to get it with that. But you could have other parts of your unconscious that hook you into that, or, you know, victimhood or self-sabotage mentality, or some other contract to clear viruses from your field, or maybe you already on a physical plane have some belief systems that make you vulnerable to a virus. For example, viruses always attack. Viruses energetically tend to attack. I'm using the word attack. Think of a key in a lock. Belief systems associated with unworthiness, lack of worthiness, lack of deservability, a sense of feeling that you have no worth or value. And this stuff happens very unconsciously. So you could have claimed some of your DNA and activated, for example, you could have activated royal codes, and that would start to dislodge those other belief systems. But if those belief systems are still in there, they would need to be cleared too. Do you understand? There's lots of layers to this stuff. I hope that makes sense. I tried to address it. I've covered it in more detail in the past. So, all right, I'm going to pause on the questions there, even though I do love interacting with you. I never got any clarity on the question. What about the neo cheaters? I don't know what that is. So I would have liked to know what that question meant, but I'll do this one last question. Kelly says, how do you navigate up-leveling, especially on Facebook, social media, with friends who repeatedly try to drag you into their beliefs? That's your vulnerability. That's where you're being asked to strengthen your own core, Kelly. They are your teachers. See them as your teachers. If they're dragging you in, you are leaking your power. Even though your true power comes from source, your true power can never be taken from you. Your true power comes from your connection with source. If you're leaking your power and you've got some open energy field that's not sealed up in your container, sealed is the wrong word, strengthened in your core pillar, your container, you're leaking energy. There's a hook. There's another hook. You got hooked in. You're the one who has to change your resonance by building your container, strengthening your core pillar. This is what the sacred retreat is for, this kind of thing. As you do, you will not be able to be hooked in. They're not trying to drag you in. You're feeling dragged in. They are not doing anything to you. You, inside out living, are letting yourself get dragged in. You, I'm saying you, but this is true for all of us, need to strengthen your core pillar so that you're not leaking energy and getting hooked into some other storyline that's not of your choosing. All right, that was a good question. I hope that's helpful. All right, I want to check. How's everyone doing? How is everyone doing? I'm going to do a healing now, but I just want to hear, how are you all? I would love to just get a little check-in from you. Has this been helpful? Does this all make sense? Is this supporting you? Do you feel this has been helpful and supportive to you? It helps me. So I see the name Ginger in there, and I think that's my friend Ginger, and I just want to say I love you, girl. Okay, good. I hear. Thank you for that lovely feedback. It helps me. I like seeing things. So helpful. Great call. Yes, it's helpful. Yes, great. This is beautiful. Very supportive. Awesome. Okay, good. Thank you. That makes me feel good, because, you know, I don't know who I'm talking to sometimes. I mean, I know my group and I know names. When I see the same names, and I know a lot of you, but on a free call. And I really, this week, had like a little bit of a wake-up call when I realized, like, somebody out there in the world, and I know this isn't true, but I never think of it like just someone thought I was just crazy. Like, okay, I get it, people do, but to me, in my world, this is so real and true and like high level knowing, and I get it. People out there think I'm crazy, but I don't usually interact with them. Or I did when I was in Florida, but like for 2 minutes at the grocery checkout store or something. you know, so I know I realize the stuff is out there, and yet I always feel like I'm speaking to my tribe and my community, and we don't think it's crazy. And then every once in a while I realize, oh, you're on a free call. Anyone could be on it, and maybe they think it's crazy. So, okay, thank you for your feedback. I appreciate that. Good. So let's do, we will still hear probably boats, but let's just do a little light work healing, just maybe a brief, easy, effortless 15-minute like meditation healing for the collective, because we are still overlapping. You know, it's a grand convergence, dimensions of reality, and as we hold the light, anchor the light, share the light, consciousness, love, and peace, we benefit humanity and we support and assist. So if you're willing to participate, we'll just do, you know, 10 or 15 minutes more. Not too deep, but just since we're gathered and together. So just take some nice breaths. And especially since I'm anchored here in Arkansas, I feel like, you know, right here on the crystal bed, I feel like this would be very helpful to people. So take some nice deep breaths. I'm just going to take a sip of water before we start. Comfortable breaths. And you know, long, slow, deep breaths, anything that you just need to drop off, you can just exhale it out. You're not sharing energy with anybody right now. You're in your own reality. You are your reality. And so just let yourself surrender to the knowing that you are the divine, remembering yourself as the divine, however you identify the divine, you know, God, source, creator, infinite light, whatever it is. Take those deep, fulfilling, comfortable breaths in through the nose, big, full breaths, fill up, whole body, until the whole body starts to relax comfortably, because it naturally goes into homeostasis when it starts to get oxygenated. This is why it's so important to breathe. Affirm in your consciousness now, I am breathing full, clear, beautiful breaths of beautiful, clear oxygen. And that oxygen is vibrating with and as love and peace. Breathe it into your body. You and the earth, Mother Earth, are the body and being of earth. You are the consciousness of the creator. As you breathe in love, clear, pure breaths of oxygen, you breathe for the whole of humanity. It is true. Breathe it in. Let the body relax. Feel all of the body being filled up with the love energy that you breathe in, and peace. If you want to breathe that in, just identify it. And whenever you start to relax and notice that you're relaxing, let your eyes close if you're willing. And whenever you're ready, on whatever breath feels right to you, take that breath of love and drop it down through your whole body, through all the core pillar, all the energy centers. There's no way to do this wrong. Drop down into Mother Earth, all the way, as deep as you can, as deep as you can. Give everything you have. You are God's sovereign source creator. Every breath of love, every breath of peace, give it to Mother Earth, all the way down. Drop into the deep core of Mother Earth, which is where the crystals are in the crystalline realm. Feel yourself energetically connect in with the 5D, the 5th dimensional crystalline grid. Just give it all to Mother Earth. Give everything you are, all love, all peace, right into those crystals, in the crystalline grid. You are the love, charging those crystals, and at the same time, Mother Earth is the ultimate mother, returning to you. On the next breath, feel it rise up through your body. Feel that energy, and you don't have to do this perfect or right. You don't have to feel anything in particular. Intention sets the truth, lets it be so. Now, in your mind, I want you to see in front of you, any way it feels good, beautiful waters, crystalline waters washing over you, in every direction around you, showering your body being with these crystalline waters. There you go, that's nice. And as these waters come through, in, through, and around you, up from and out of and around you in every direction, these crystalline waters, bathed in the crystalline energies, they are cleansing you, your whole energy field, your mental, emotional, spiritual, energetic, light, auric, physical, Christed body, cleansing and blessing bathing you in these crystalline waters. Anything that still wants to relax as you continue to breathe comfortably, relax it. Breathe in love and peace and let these crystalline waters energetically bathe you. Fill you up, every cell of your body and being, every proton, every neutron. There's no way to do this wrong. You're just breathing, relaxing, allowing, sensing, feeling whatever is right for you. And you just keep breathing in love and peace. You see, sense, feel, and recognize the consciousness of the crystalline realm that is connected to you right now, bathing you in the crystalline waters, running in, through, and around you, going once again to every cell, every proton, every neutron, every electron, every atom, every particle, and every subatomic particle. And as you breathe in this love, this peace into your body being, and you allow these cleansing waters to cleanse and bless and bathe and purify and harmonize and divinitize you, your body being, your consciousness, you simultaneously allow it to consciously direct to any organ, any system, any structure within your body. This includes your nervous system, your circulatory system, your limbic system, of course, your skeletal system, every part of your consciousness, every organ, any organ in your body, including every part of your body that you might identify in your mind that might light up for you personally. You just keep breathing in love and peace and just noticing, just allowing this beautiful water and the crystalline consciousness and Mother Earth herself and your own God sovereign self to be recognizing and witnessing that you are breathing in this light, this love, this crystalline consciousness, this beautiful cleansing and blessing, purification, divinitizing you. And as you are one with Mother Earth, the whole of Earth is benefiting in this now moment. And as you continue this, just lovingly witnessing yourself, breathing, receiving, allowing, at the same time you are recognizing this service and contribution to all the waters and all of the physical earth and all of the nature kingdom, all of the elementals. And let's especially also include our beloved animal companions, our animal kingdom, all members of the animal kingdom, that they too shall benefit now. And let's add in as a collective right now that any and all harm or detriment that has been perpetuated on animals or the animal kingdom is immediately stopped completely and totally in the most kind, loving, benevolent, peaceful, conscious ways possible for the 100% positive upliftment for all animals. We include ourselves as humans, as part of the animal kingdom. That from this moment forward and throughout all time, space, dimensions, directions, we now choose to align with the 100% positive upliftment for all animals, all the animal kingdom, including humans, with the maximum amount of peace, love, benevolence, gentleness, kindness, compassion, dignity, respect, grace, and consciousness, and especially sentience, that all beings are now recognized as sentient beings, and that as we breathe this in and through and around us and allow it to be anchored in more wholly and completely into the grids of earth, the crystalline consciousness, As we share it and breathe it, we know we are anchoring it in to our body being physical reality, all with positive intention for the most benevolent best, for all beings, for all of Mother Earth, for all the elementals, for all the nature kingdoms, for all the animals in the animal kingdom. We reaffirm it more than once to ensure it is so, as we are unanimously agreed. And we allow it. We are collectively unified. And as we are vibrating with this divine intention and this desire, we are all healed, whole, and complete. With every breath of love and peace, every cell, every proton, every neutron, every atom, every particle, every subatomic particle is in agreement, coming into alignment with these frequencies, restoring health and youthful vitality for all bodies and beings, restoring consciousness, remembering our agreement to wake up at this time, restoring youthful health and vitality, restoring and reawakening optimism within us. Breathe it in, breathe, allow. Restoring our reclamation of our divinity, of our divine knowing, reclaiming our own royalty, our own royal codes, the true birthright which is ours, to remember ourselves as sovereign God beings, free and liberated, and up-leveled into the higher realms of consciousness, peace, and love, and restoring our right to be healthy, strong, and full of youthful vitality, joy and optimism, and divine inspiration, and true sentience. And once again, in the most loving, kind, benevolent, and helpful ways possible for ourselves and all beings, and for the 100% positive upliftment for all beings, and that this is shared throughout all time, space, dimensions, and directions, omnidimensional and omnidirectional. Now, all you need to do is just breathe and allow. There's not much to do. You're God. You make it so. The vibrational resonance of where we're at, what we're doing, the law of synchronicity, the law of intent, consent, and authority are all in agreement. This is done. Take a long, slow, deep breath once again. Drop down into the crystalline realm once again. Give all of these gifts we have just received to Mother Earth. Everything. Just drop it all down to the core of Mother Earth. Drop it all down there. Just see, sense, feel everything dropping into the core of Mother Earth, putting all of this into the crystalline realm, giving it all to her and all of the crystalline consciousness. And on the next breath, notice how it is reciprocated. The law of reciprocity now begins to give it all back to you, amplified, accelerated, expanded through your entire energy field. You are the benefactor of the gifts you give, and the giver of those gifts to the whole of humanity. Now, this is the business of Lightworkers. Breathe and notice how it is expanding through your whole body. Anywhere your body and being needs extra attention, let this energy vibrate in, through, and around you. There's no way to do it wrong. Just allow it. Recognize it, witness it, notice it. Breathe it. Feel it move through your body and being, rising up through all the energy centers of your physicality, your emotionality, your mental, intellectual plane, expanding out around you, energetically around you, expanding out even greater to your auric field, your light body, expanding out even greater now, wider all around you in every direction, your light body, your Buddha body, even wider now, even bigger, expanding around you, big light all around you. There you go, nice. Your God sovereign self expanding, up leveling now. See yourself rise up. You are taller than 55 feet tall, wider than 55 feet around, bigger, taller than 55 stories tall, stories of buildings, bigger, wider than 55 stories of buildings around. In every direction, your light body, your God body, expanding to all that is now, widening, strengthening your own pillar of love and light, and allowing yourself to become resonant with the higher truth of who you are. Remembering and reclaiming now. Breathe and allow. Breathe and notice. See, sense, and feel. Own it and claim it. It's yours now. And let it be. Now, just before we just open our eyes, because we could stay here. This is really quite blissful, you guys. You're amazing. Before you open your eyes, allow yourself to notice however you notice. There's nothing you need to do. This I'll do for you. The group is doing it. It's done already. Just notice however you notice a perfect gold, luminescent gold, solid gold actually, alchemist gold, divine primordial gold surrounding your whole field, containing you and at the same time expanding around you. There's nothing for you to do, just let it be. And around that, pure, perfect platinum, alchemist platinum, divine primordial platinum all around you. And around that, crystalline, the crystalline kingdom surrounding you, welcoming you home. And at the same time, awakening you, loving you as you awaken to who you truly are. We all are. And this crystalline realm is now just lovingly, lovingly encapsulating you, surrounding you, and infusing you with the divinity of you. And as you let it be, so it is. So with that, whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. You'll probably feel a little light, but at the same time, you haven't gone anywhere. You're in your body vehicle, just as you were when you started. And you can come back fully present here. Okay. Final comments. This is where my makeup goes all over the place. Final comments before we wrap and say goodnight or goodbye. It's 5 o'clock here. I went a little beyond my 2 hours. I say a few final words. Thank you for that feedback. Amazing. Wow, wow, wow. Thank you. So glad. I love that. A few final words. Please remember to check out the Starseed Crystal Retreat and Experience on the website at lauriespagna.com. I will be doing another one of these gifted calls, unique and different, next week. I haven't picked the exact date. I let myself be guided after this call. So make sure you're in the newsletter community so you can get invited to that as well. Everyone is unique and different, and we will be working on stuff related to the next eclipse window, the summer eclipse. I want to address that stuff. I love all your comments. Thank you so much. And please, please head over to my social media. I'm not always in the highest frequency there, but I do my best to share good stuff there and stay connected with me. I love you guys so much. I am so, so grateful for each and every one of you for participating, for your feedback, for your role as light workers. We are doing it. So yay to all of us. And I hope to be your cheerleader, your support person, your friend, your comrade on the Sacred Crystal Retreat in Arkansas. And yeah, love you guys so much. Thank you so, so much for being here. And I love you, and I'll see you next time, okay? Until then, bye-bye. All my love. Okay.